Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Randwick Racecourse here on Saturday. It's the 18th of April 2020. Gonna look at this Group 1 racing here from Randwick, but before I get onto that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and remember to go check out my Apple Blossom handicap preview video from Oakland. That should be live very soon. But the last few weeks, the world's not 100% the last few weeks. No racing basically almost here in America, no racing in France or in the UK, and so my options have been a little bit limited. So the last few weeks I've been watching a lot more Australian racing. I do watch it, almost every week, but I don't really concentrate on it. The last few weeks been concentrating on it, and I think it's time to start previewing some of these stakes races. So the next few weeks, hopefully, you'll see me previewing some more races from Randwick and all across Australia. But I chose a good card to look at. So we're going to look at the Group 1 races 5 and 7 here from Randwick. Let's get to it. The fifth race, it's for the 2-year-olds. It is the Group 1 Champagne Stakes, going for a purse, $246,000. We have a field of 10 horses going the 1,600-meter journey, or 1 mile on the turf course. My top selection, I'm going to take the 4-horse Holyfield. We're going to go 4-3-5 in the tri-cash trifecta. 4-3-5 tri-cash trifecta. That's basically my top 3, but the top selection would be the 4-horse Holyfield. This 2-year-old colt by I Am Invisible. Tom Marquand, who's having a great run in Australia, gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing, the 28th at Rosehill in the Group 3 Schwepper-Vesson Stakes. 7 furlongs, 1,400 meters on the lawn, and he won by just under a length there, and he did everything right. He stalked that day, he had a great turn of foot, and he went away with it. That was a very good run. It was a step down class from the race before, which came at Flemington in the Group 2 Sire's Produce Stakes. 1,400 meters, 7 furlongs on the turf course. He finished 9th by 4.5 lengths there, and he stalked early on, but he just didn't have a lot left in the tank. Maybe the ground was just a little bit too soft for him that day, or a little bit too dry. And then before that, he ran at Sandown in the Super Voibus handicap, the 7 furlong trip, the 1,400 meter journey, and he won by a length, almost on the front end all throughout, winning just under a length. That was a very good run. Other than that subpar race at Flemington 2-back, his form hasn't been half bad. He won earlier this year at Newcastle very nicely, winning just under 3 from a starting position. Then he showed the speed on the front end on very soft ground at Sandown. Subpar at Flemington, back at Rosehill, ran a good race. Coming here, he's drawn very well today. I think drawing well in this race is going to be the key. I think he had a good trip from a starting position. I think it's going to be a stalker that can win here. I'm going to take him here at just under 8-1, or excuse me, just under 7-1. If you're going to play a multi-race wager, you can't throw out the 3-horse Aim. Karen McAvoy is on this one. His horse is going to be coming from a little bit behind here. I didn't think his last race at Randwick a few weeks ago, I didn't think it was a bad race on very, heavy ground. Hopefully a little bit dry ground today. I think he can get a good trip. If he runs a quarter of the race he ran here in December, I think he can win. That's, at just under 8. We'll use him also on the multi-race ticket, but he definitely chance to use in the exactas and forecasts. But to recount my selection for the 5th from Randwick, it is the Group 1 Champagne Stakes. Let's go with the 4-horse Holyfield as the top selection. We'll go 4-3-5 in the tri-cash trifecta, 4-3 in the multi-race. Let's get to the featured 7th race now from the featured 7th race from Randwick. It is the Group 1 All-Aged Stakes. It's going for a purse of $295,000. We have a field of 16 horses going to the starting gate, but only 14 could go, so the 15 and 16 are reserves, are also eligible, so 14 will go to the post. The distance of ground, a 1,400-meter journey, or the 7 furlong trip on the turf course. The top selection here, we're going to go with the number 11 horse, Boviac, as a top selection. I'm going to go 11-4-2 in the tri-cash trifecta. 11-4-2 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection, 11 horse Boviac. 3-year-old colt by Exceed and Excel. James Cummings trains this one for Godolphin. Hugh Bowman gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came on the 4th of April here at Randwick on quite heavy ground in the Group 1 TJ Smith Stakes, and he finished 6th that day by 3.5 lengths there. He closed up from nowhere. It was an all-out finish, but I don't know if he liked the very, very wet stuff. Hopefully a little dry ground here today and better post draw, barrier draw. I think he'll get a good, better run here today. Also, coming up to 7 furlongs or 1,400, he should do a lot better. Before that, he ran at Mooney Valley in the Group 1 William Reed Stakes on the 20th of March. It's 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs there, and he finished third by 2.5 lengths there, and he set the pace most race. Got caught in the stretch run. What can you do? He still ran his heart out there, and then 3 back of Flemington and the Group 1 Newmarket Handicap 1,200-meter journey or 6 furlong trip. He won by 2.5 lengths. He stalked. He had a great turn of foot, and he went away with that. That was probably one of his best races lifetime. Very, very good run. His seasonal reappearance came at Caulfield back in late February in the Group 1 Oakley Plate, and he kind of went a little subpar. He finished 6 by 2.25 lengths there, and he moved a little bit and he was coming from quite far behind. Maybe first off the break at 5.5 or 1100, not his preferred journey. I just think he needed the race. If you look at his races last spring or last November, I thought he ran a decent place at Flemington, going 6 furlongs in the Coolmore Stud Stakes, and then before that, he ran these good races at Rosehill, where he's actually back-to-back winners in Group 1 and Group 2 competition. I think he's drawn well here today. The only thing that's subpar about his run today is he's 9-2. It's not the best price in the world, but he has a logical chance of winning. We're definitely going to use him here on the quaddie. Another chance of winning, of course, you definitely have to use, especially at 13-1 on your quaddie or the pick 4, would be the 4-horse of Fierce Impact. This Japanese-bred 6-year-old horse by Deep Impact. Tom Marquand again gets to mount here. He ran a few weeks ago here over at Caulfield. That came in the All-Star Mile, and he finished fourth by just under a length and a half there, and he moved a little bit. Not as he just couldn't get there late, but I think you're going to see a little bit of a quicker pace in this one, and come from behind with a quicker pace. I think it'll suit him well. Before that, here at Randwick in the Chipping Norton Stakes Group 1 back in late February, he finished third by just under 2 lengths there, and again he was closing up from far well behind, and not a bad run late, and then at Caulfield in the Orr Stakes back in February. Forgot the month for a second. And he closing from mid-pack. I didn't think it was a half bad race. He's going to become from farther behind here. Again, I think this race is going to play towards either a horse. I don't think the pace is going to hold up. I think Dreamforce, they're going to take Dreamforce as far as he can go. I don't think he's going to get the 7 furlong trip here. And I think the pace is going to melt down. I think first over, you'll see Bouviac getting a good trip. And I think your second likeliest winner will be Fierce Impact, come from a little bit farther behind. So we'll definitely use him here on the multi-race ticket, the quaddie pick 4, and definitely use him in your exacta. I think he has a strong chance there also. But to recap my selection now for the 7 from Randwick, it's to feature Group 1 all-age stakes. Let's take the number 11 horse Bouviac as top selection. We'll go 11-4-2 in the tricast trifecta, 11-4 in the multi-race quaddie. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck.